What if the pressure you are feeling right now, it's not because something is wrong, but rather because where are you building upon? See, in this video, I want to share with you three keys that will determine whether what you build lasts or not. I'm so excited we get to hang for a few minutes, and I want to make reference to the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verses 24 through 27, because I do believe that as I share with you in this particular video, how to make sure that what you're building is built on the right foundation. It will enlighten you, and you will realize that often pressure that we feel is not necessarily because there's something wrong with what we desire to build, with the dream that God has given us, but rather the foundation that we are building upon. And Matthew chapter 7, verse 24, Jesus makes a reference to two homes, two builders. And verse 24 says, "So everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man, a far-sighted, practical, and sensible man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell, and the floods and torrents came, and the winds blew and slammed against the house, yet it did not fall, because it had been founded on the rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish, stupid man who built his house on the sand. And the rain fell, and the floods and torrents came, and the winds blew and slammed against that house, and it fell, and great and complete was its fall." It's so interesting to see how the Lord points out these two individuals who were actually at, at a place where they were building, both of them. They had been given the same opportunity to basically listen to the words of Jesus. The Lord makes a reference to this illustration after he had just finished a sermon on the mountain, and he spoke about so much during that one sermon: the intentions of the heart, humility, generosity, so many great topics. And then he finishes, closes the whole thing saying, "Listen, be like the man who heard my words and built his home upon those words, upon the rock, upon the right foundation." And it's so interesting how we could get to realize as we journey with the Lord this first key that I want to share with you. And this is the key: freedom is not the end, but the beginning of a thing. Freedom is just the beginning. And as a matter of fact, I want to title this short message: Freedom is not the finish line. Often we think that the breakthrough we're praying for, or the answered prayer, or whatever we are anticipating, expecting from God, we think that that is the finish line, when in reality, often that is just the beginning of the journey. When you see God delivering his people out of Egypt, that was not the end. That was just the beginning of a journey that we're going to embark on with the Lord, and the beginning of promise and purpose for their lives. So when we understand this, then we know that we could understand that God frees us. He frees our lives. He frees your lives from so many things in order for you to become someone that He's called you to become. So freedom is just the beginning. It's the gateway. It's the entrance into a life of promise, into a life of abundance. So when when we know this, then we understand that we could celebrate breakthrough, but breakthrough is not the destination, but it's just the beginning, it's the doorway to much greater things that God has prepared in our lives. See, he actually he invited his people into a journey. He was drawing them with strings of love so they could finally yield into so much more that he had prepared for them. So understanding this now is key to understand as well that when we talk about building, we got to talk about foundation, because the foundation of what you're building determines how solid and how stable that house is going to be. Whether you're building your company, you're building a family, a marriage, you're building your own personal life, your ministry, a company, your business. All of us are building something. All of us are working on building something. So the key part here is that we always need to check that. Constantly we must check our hearts and check ourselves and make sure that we are building on the right foundation. That's why the Lord makes a reference to this man who built his house on the sand, and when the storm came, it blew away the house. It destroyed it annihilated the house. And then it's insane because it says that great was his end. In other words, it was bound to happen because this person for way too long was building on their own foundation. So usually when we talk about these two builders, it's very it's just fascinating how both of them were exposed to the same teachings, both of them had the same opportunities, but only one of the two builders chose to build upon the right foundation. So when we understand this, then we could say, well, I need to check, what am I building upon? Am I building just because I feel the pressure to perform? Am I building because I want to prove a point? Am I building because I want to show the world, um, just that what I'm working on, that what I'm building is actually working? What's the purpose behind me building this company? What's the purpose behind me building a family? So we've got to check the right foundation. We've got to check the foundation, because if we are building on the wrong foundation, eventually the house will collapse. So the second key is foundation determines stability. And when we see this, we know that the difference was an effort, but it was intention. It was the intention of the heart of the man who built upon the wrong and the one who built upon the right foundation. What's what's pushing you? What's moving you? What's motivating you to do what you do today? What's motivating you to just get up in the morning and go to work and do what you do? What's pushing you? What's the reason behind you doing what you're doing? Because when we talk about that, we actually talk about motives and intentions of the heart. And when the foundation is off, the house won't last. The third thing that I want to point out to you, remember, it all starts with you knowing that freedom, it's not the destination. It's just the beginning. It's the doorway. It's the entrance to a different kind of lifestyle that God has prepared for all of us. Second, you understand that the foundation is key. You've got to build on the right place. You've got to build on His word. You've got to build on His promise. You've got to build on His name and who He is as your Father. And finally, the third thing that you could um, understand in order to build on the right foundation is that pressure will reveal the foundation. When we experience pressure in our lives, we will see if there are any cracks on the foundation. So many of us in our journeys with God, we've realized that at times we were building on the right foundation. We were building on the wrong foundation. I'm sorry. So at that time, you got to ask yourself a question: what can I do about this? How can I build differently? How can I build from a different place? How can I learn from my past mistakes? See, it's key when you get to a place in which your past becomes an asset for you, because now you're learning from past mistakes, you've learning from past experiences, and you're not repeating the same pattern, or you're not repeating the same mistake, but you've actually gotten to a place where you say, how can I learn from this situation? How can I learn? What can I do different in order to build on the right foundation? Because it is inevitable that the storm will come. It's coming. The storm is coming. Tests will show up. The valley, it's at some point, it's in your destination, is in your future. Many of us will say, well, Frank, but I'm hoping that everything will be great. That's amazing. I'm hoping for everything to go well also in my life, in my finances. But there's moments that we encounter valleys. There's moments that we will encounter difficult times. And the key is, what are you going to do at that particular time? What are you going to do at that particular moment? See, when the pressure shows up, it reveals cracks in the foundation. And when there's a crack in the foundation, you must stop and really get to work on it and make sure that from that moment on, you start to build on the right foundation. So it's interesting when pressure shows up, because then you realize, if you are always in a constant state of a rush, you realize that you've might have taken the wrong turn at a time, and now you've got to, hey, let's dial it back and get back to God's purpose and God's original design for our lives, so we can really build a home that will stand the test of time. See, it's it's fascinating when you find someone who could be at a heavy season in their lives, but yet the foundation is right, and you know that the building, the home, is still standing. Someone who goes through difficult times, but during those difficult times, they yield to the Lord. They hold on to Him. They connect with Him even more. They embrace the journey. They look forward to the destination, but they understand that God is working in them and through them as they go on the journey. So, my final exhortation here for you is that you will know that God is bringing you into a place that eventually could make such an impact, not only in your life, but in the lives of those who are around you. He's allowed you to experience freedom. He's given you knowledge or revelation, perhaps a moment in which you've known without a shadow of a doubt that God is with you, that you know that what is happening in your life is is divinely ordained by God. Those moments are moments that God uses not only to shape your destiny, to shape your life, but to impact the lives of those who are around you. So today, if perhaps you're going through a moment in which you say, Frank, I've experienced God here in this particular situation, but I know there's more. It's a perfect time to look at the foundation, to check the foundation, so you can continue to build on the right foundation. You can continue to build on His promise for your life, because that will guarantee that your home will stand the test of time, and you will be fully convinced that freedom is not the finish line, but it's the gateway, it's the entrance to so much more that God has prepared for you, for those that you love, and those that you are called to impact. I am so happy that you spent a few minutes here with me on the channel. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your love offerings. Thank you for just every comment that you send. You can find me in social media, and I look forward to spend a few more minutes with you. Perhaps you want to go to the next video and continue to be edified, be built in your faith, in your journey with the Lord, as you continue to build on the right foundation. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.